I screamed again, but then instead of attacking, he smiled and said, "You bad, bad girl. You need to be taught a lesson." I'm a big fan of cars. I always wanted one ever since I was a little girl. While all my friends were into Barbies and dollhouses, I like cars. My dad used to have an old BMW M Series that was really loud. I loved to sit in it in the driveway. Fast forward some years, and there I was, 16 and with a driver's license. That old M Series was too powerful for me, so Dad bought me a Fiat 500. It was a small, girly car that I quickly fell in love with. Since I was passionate, I customized it and made it my own. That car is still one I have today. I'm now 21, but I wouldn't part ways with it for $1 million. Being an old car, it breaks down, of course. So I had to find a mechanic. After a quick Google search, I found one close to where I lived. I went with the car, and after finding the problem, he told me to come the next day when the part would arrive. He asked for my phone number so he could call me when it was ready. Later that evening, I got a text from the mechanic. He told me he wanted to take me on a date after he fixed my car. I told him that I had a boyfriend, even though I didn't. The next day, I went to shop after he said the part was there. But when I got there, he told me they screwed up the order and I'd have to come back the next day. I went home, watched a movie, then later went on Facebook, liking and commenting on a few pictures of my friends. But soon after, I got a message. It was from the mechanic. I was shocked by what he wrote. He called me names, said I was a liar for pretending to have a boyfriend while liking other guys' photos, and even said I deserved to get into a car crash. It was brutal. Instead of replying, I ignored him. He seemed crazy. Seeing that I was online, he messaged again, apologizing and saying he'd come over with a bottle of wine so we could start over. I told him he didn't know where I lived and that if he didn't stop, I'd call the police. He just replied with a laughing emoji. An hour later, my doorbell rang. I froze. It was him, standing at my door, holding a bottle of wine. I told him to go away, or I'd call the cops. He didn't reply but walked off. I waited until he was gone, then sat back down, trembling. A few minutes later, I got another Facebook message from a blank account. It said, "I hope you like red," followed by a smiling emoji. At first, I didn't understand until I heard a sound from the kitchen. A bottle is being opened. I crept toward the noise, and there he was, the mechanic. Inside my kitchen, I pour wine into 2 glasses. I screamed. My neighbor, who'd seen him sneaking into my backyard, came over and rang the bell. I let him in and told him what was happening. The mechanic looked at my neighbor and said he was my boyfriend. Even though I denied it, he wouldn't stop acting like it was true. We called the police. When he saw me dialing, he said he'd leave if I agreed to go out with him. My neighbor took a step forward, and the mechanic grabbed a knife off my table. I screamed again, but then, instead of attacking, he smiled and said, "You bad, bad girl. You need to be taught a lesson." Then, looking at my neighbor, he added, "You know how to punish her, don't you?" We were both terrified. Finally, he dropped the knife, gave me one last look from head to toe, and walked out. As he left, I shouted that I knew his auto repair shop and could turn him in. He just smiled and said, "I'll see you around." I never saw him again. But from that day on, I never felt safe, not even inside my own home.